Marina had never felt her heart beat so hard in her chest. She stood at the edge of the wide ranch land, her hands shaking as she held the small woven bag that carried everything she owned. The sun was rising behind her, spreading soft golden light across the fields, but she felt no warmth. All she felt was fear. Fear of being judged again. Fear of being sent away. Fear of being seen as someone who did not belong. Her feet were sore from walking all night. She had not meant to come so far, but her steps had carried her forward, because she had nowhere else to go. The ranch looked peaceful, with a wooden fence and a small house in the distance. Smoke drifted from the chimney. The sight of a home, any home, made her eyes sting with tears she did not want to shed. She took a deep breath, but it shook as it left her mouth. She looked down at her worn shoes and felt a wave of shame. She did not look like someone who should be approaching a stranger's home. Her clothes were dusty from the long walk. Her hair was loose and tangled. She wished she could turn around and walk away. But where would she go? She had already lost her land, her place, the small world she once felt safe in. This ranch was the only sign of human life she had seen in hours. She closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "Just ask for water. Just ask for help. Nothing more." Even those simple words felt heavy. She stepped forward, slowly at first. Every crunch of dry grass under her feet made her flinch, as if the sound alone would call someone out to scold her. She drew closer to the house, her hands tightening around the strap of her bag. Her breath fogged slightly in the morning air. A man stepped out onto the porch before she reached the gate. He had broad shoulders, a strong but tired face, and the kind of posture that told her he worked hard every day. His name, she would later learn, was David. For now, he was simply a stranger, staring at her with unreadable eyes. He did not say anything at first. He just looked at her, surprised, cautious, uncertain. Marina's heart felt like it dropped to the ground. She froze. The shame rushed through her all over again, warm and uncomfortable, like something burning under her skin. She wished she could vanish. "I'm sorry," she blurted out quietly, afraid her voice might break. "I didn't mean to disturb anyone. I've been walking a long time, and I only need a little water. Then I'll go." Her words trembled. She hated that they did. David did not move. He did not step closer, but he did not walk away either. The silence stretched, and it made her feel even smaller. She waited for him to say something like the others had said to her before, "You're on the wrong land." Or, "You should leave." Or, "We don't want trouble." But before he could speak, the front door of the house opened again. A little girl ran out, her small boots tapping the wooden steps. She had bright eyes and messy hair that looked as if she had just woken up. Her name was Lily. She ran straight to her father's side, tugging at his sleeve, but then she stopped and stared at Marina. Not with fear, not with suspicion, just curiosity, the pure, gentle curiosity only a child could have. Marina felt the girl's eyes on her, and she tried to look away. She did not want to scare her. She did not want to cause trouble. She wished she had cleaned up before coming near anyone's home. But Lily took a few steps closer, her small hands on the railing as she leaned forward to get a better look. "Daddy, who is she?" the little girl asked softly. David cleared his throat, still unsure how to answer. Marina opened her mouth to explain, but Lily spoke again, her voice light and innocent, untouched by the weight adults carried. "Is she my new mama?" The world felt like it stopped. David's eyes widened. Marina felt her breath catch in her throat. She had no idea what to say, and she could feel her face warming with embarrassment. She pressed her hands together, wishing she could hide them, wishing she could hide herself. "No, sweetheart," David said quickly, his voice gentle but shaken. "No, she's not." But Lily wasn't done. She tilted her head, looking at Marina with soft eyes. "She looks kind," Lily said simply. "You said mamas are kind." Marina felt her heart twist so hard it almost hurt. She had not felt kindness in a long time. She certainly had not expected a child to look at her that way, as if she were someone gentle, someone warm, someone safe. She had forgotten what it felt like to be seen without suspicion. David let out a quiet sigh and stepped down from the porch. He approached Marina slowly, not wanting to overwhelm her. "Sorry about that," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "Lily, she doesn't understand some things yet. She lost her mom a while back. She gets ideas." Marina nodded quickly, wanting to ease the tension. "It's all right," she said, though her voice was still soft. "She meant no harm." David studied her for a moment. His guarded expression softened just slightly. He noticed the tiredness in her eyes, the dust on her clothes, the way she held her bag close to her chest, like it was a shield. "How long have you been walking?" he asked. "Since last night," she admitted, lowering her gaze. "I didn't want to stop anywhere. I didn't want any trouble." Lily had stepped down from the porch now, too, standing beside her father but still staring openly at Marina. "Are you hungry?" Lily asked, as if the question were the most natural thing in the world. Marina's throat tightened. She had not eaten since the afternoon before. But she shook her head. "I don't want to be a bother. I only need water." David hesitated. He looked at the sky, then back at her. His instincts as a father tugged at him. He would not want anyone to treat Lily the way this woman had likely been treated. Something in his chest nudged him forward. "You're not a bother," he said at last. "Come inside. At least sit down for a bit. You look like you're about to fall over." Marina swallowed hard. She wanted to refuse. She wanted to stay invisible, unnoticed. But her legs were trembling, and her hands were cold. She nodded faintly. "Thank you," she whispered. Lily smiled wide, stepping forward to take Marina's hand without a second thought. Her small fingers wrapped around Marina's, warm and trusting. The simple touch surprised Marina so much she almost pulled her hand away. But Lily held on gently, as if guiding someone who needed comfort. "You can sit by the fire," the little girl said cheerfully. "It's warm there, and Daddy makes good tea." David sighed but couldn't help a small smile at her enthusiasm. Marina followed slowly, still unsure, still nervous, but the warmth of the child's hand made something in her chest loosen just a little. For the first time in a long time, she felt the faintest flicker of safety. When she stepped inside the house, the scent of warm bread and wood smoke wrapped around her. It felt like stepping into a memory she had forgotten, something soft, something gentle. She stood near the door, afraid to bring dirt inside, but Lily tugged her closer. "You can sit here," Lily said, patting a small chair near the hearth. Marina lowered herself into it slowly, feeling the warmth seep into her cold fingers. She watched as David filled a cup with water and brought it to her. She thanked him quietly and drank, feeling life return to her body with every sip. Lily sat beside her, swinging her legs, watching her with a curious and innocent joy. "You can rest here," she told Marina, as if she had the power to make decisions for the whole house. David glanced between them. A mixture of worry and something else, something like hope growing in his eyes. He didn't know who this woman was, why she was here, or what troubles had led her to his ranch. But he knew one thing already. No matter how unexpected her arrival was, she had walked into their lives at a moment when they all needed something: kindness, safety, or maybe even a second chance. And the story between them had only just begun. The next few days passed more quietly than Marina expected. She had thought she would stay only long enough to drink water, rest her legs, and regain her strength. She had planned to leave at sunrise the very next morning. But when morning came, her body felt too tired to move, and her mind felt too unsure to walk into the unknown again. David noticed how pale she looked and told her she could rest a little longer. Lily was even happier about it. Trying to senses, two lambs, running around the house with excitement every time she saw Marina awake. Marina tried to help where she could. She swept the floor, even though David told her she didn't need to. She helped Lily brush her hair in the mornings, gentle fingers working through tangles while telling small stories from her childhood. She even helped wash vegetables for dinner, though her hands shook from exhaustion. It felt strange to do such simple things in a home that wasn't hers, but it also made her feel useful again, something she had not felt in many weeks. Lily followed her everywhere. She asked questions about everything, about Marina's woven bag, about the beads she wore around her wrist, about the small songs she hummed when she thought no one was listening. Marina answered each question softly, surprised at how easy it was to talk to the little girl. One evening, as the sun was falling behind the hills, Lily tugged on Marina's sleeve and asked her to come outside. The sky was turning pink and orange, spreading warm colors across the fields. Lily jumped from one patch of grass to another, giggling, while Marina watched her with a smile she didn't even know she still had inside her. "You look happy," Lily said suddenly as she plopped down on the grass. "I am," Marina admitted quietly. Lily beamed at her, proud of this tiny accomplishment. She leaned her head against Marina's arm and sighed softly. "I like when you're here," she said. "It feels nice." Marina felt a soft ache in her heart. She knew she couldn't stay forever. She didn't belong on someone else's land. She had lost her own home already and didn't want to be the reason for trouble in someone else's life. But Lily's simple words warmed her more than the setting sun ever could. David joined them after finishing his work in the barn. He wiped his hands on his shirt and sat down nearby, watching Lily and Marina with a thoughtful look in his eyes. The peaceful scene made him feel something he hadn't felt in a long time, a sense of comfort, almost like a small family evening he never expected to have again. "You're good with her," he said to Marina. She looked down shyly. "She's very kind to me." "Children see the truth faster than adults," David replied. "She doesn't talk this much with anyone else." His words made Marina's cheeks warm. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and stared at the field, unsure what to say. She had not been treated like someone important or valued in a long time. To hear that Lily liked her so deeply felt like a gift she didn't know how to accept. As the days continued, Marina slowly opened up to both of them. She told David about her home far away, where she used to wake up to the sound of birds and the smell of wildflowers. She told him about the small piece of land her family had loved for generations, the land she could no longer return to because of a mistake made by someone she trusted. She told him how she walked for days, refusing to trouble anyone because she did not want to be turned away again. David listened to every word carefully. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He didn't look at her with pity. He looked at her with understanding, and that alone made her feel safe enough to keep speaking. When she finished, she stared at her hands, suddenly embarrassed. "I shouldn't stay too long," she said softly. "People will ask questions. It may cause trouble for you." David shook his head. "You're not causing trouble," he said. "You needed help, and helping someone is not something to be ashamed of." "But people around here may not see it that way," Marina whispered. David nodded slowly. "I know. But that's not your fault. And it's not Lily's job to lose someone who makes her happy, just because other people don't understand." The way he said those words made something flutter in Marina's chest. She didn't want to misread anything, so she looked away. But her heart held on to his kindness, like a warm light in a dark place. One afternoon, Marina helped Lily with a small craft project inside the house. They were making a necklace out of beads and small polished seeds. Lily's hands were small and clumsy, but Marina guided them gently, teaching her how to thread each bead carefully. Lily's laughter filled the room every time a bead slipped out of her fingers. David watched from the doorway. He leaned against the wooden frame, unnoticed, admiring the way Marina smiled when Lily looked up at her. In that moment, He realized how much more peaceful his home had become. The loneliness he had grown used to was slowly lifting, replaced by soft conversations and gentle warmth. "You're good with your hands," David commented once he stepped inside. Marina looked up and offered him a shy smile. "I learned when I was little," she said. "My mother taught me. She always said that small things made with care can bring comfort." "That seems true," David replied, noticing how Lily hugged the half-finished necklace as if it were a treasure. Just when everything felt calm and steady, a knock came at the door one morning. David opened it to find two people from the town standing outside. They were polite but firm, saying they saw a woman walking on the land and wanted to know who she was. Their tone wasn't cruel, but their questions were uncomfortable. They talked as if Marina were a problem before knowing anything about her. Marina heard the voices and stepped back instinctively. Her hands trembled, and the old fear returned, heavy and cold. She did not want David to face trouble because of her presence. She moved toward the door, ready to tell the visitors she would leave. But David stepped in front of her gently, blocking her without touching her. "She's here as my guest," he said simply. "She's not doing anything wrong. She just needed a safe place." The visitors exchanged surprised looks. David's calm but steady voice made it clear he wasn't going to let anyone speak poorly about her. After a few more polite words, they left, still curious but no longer questioning. Marina felt tears gathering in her eyes. She covered her mouth, overwhelmed by relief and gratitude. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yes, I did," David replied softly. "Because no one deserves to feel unwanted when they've done nothing wrong." Lily wrapped her arms around Marina's waist, holding her tightly. "Don't go," she said in a small voice. "Please, stay." Marina knelt down to look into her eyes. "I won't go," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "Not if your father allows me to stay." David met her eyes then, and the depth in his gaze made her heart warm again. "You can stay as long as you need," he said. Something gentle and powerful settled in the room at that moment. Not a promise, not a declaration, but a quiet understanding that their lives had already become connected. That evening, the three of them sat by the fire again. Lily rested her head on Marina's lap, while Marina hummed a soft tune, one she remembered from her childhood. David sat across from them, watching the scene with a peaceful expression. For the first time in a long time, Marina felt that she belonged somewhere. She felt seen, welcomed, and valued. She felt like her story, once filled with uncertainty, was slowly turning into something warm and hopeful. And as Lily drifted to sleep beside her, holding her hand tightly, Marina realized something simple but true. Sometimes, life brings unexpected people into our path, not to test us, but to heal us. And here, in this quiet ranch house filled with gentle kindness,